Hi, it's Leaf, and boy do I have news. Of course, I'm a bit late, as always, but yesterday in one fell swoop, Pathea revealed the Kickstarter campaign launch date, it's September 24th, the Steam page for My Time at Evershine, and the first official teaser trailer. And it's a lot. And before you ask, because someone already asked this question, why Kickstarter again? Especially since the game already has a Steam page, so they're making it anyway. Well, Kickstarter is basically extra money. They don't necessarily need it, they have their own budget, but it will help. Well, because more money always helps. Obviously, nothing has changed on the Kickstarter page yet, other than the number of followers. Now it's almost 18,000, which is great. But the Steam page offers quite a few details about the game itself. So, first of all, when and where? The story takes place 3 years after the events of My Time at Sandrock and My Time at Portia. The Duvos Empire has taken over the Orzu ruins, which the Principality of Pathea also claims as their own, leading to a tense situation just north of the Alliance of Free Cities border in the northern Eufaula region. And we know about this conflict from the previous games, mostly from newspaper articles. The Alliance initiated the North Development Plan to move more settlers into the region in an effort to establish a new city-state for a better defensive posture. And yeah, the North Development Plan was discussed in Sandrock, and we already anticipated that this region is exactly where the new game is going to be taking place. So yeah, we're going to be building this new city-state somewhere around here. So we're going to be very close to Pathea and also rather close to Duvos. No pressure. And in my previous video, I was wrong, because it seems that this actually is Ursula, unless she has a twin sister with the same mole. But if Ursula is back, who else could appear again, especially given the location? Perhaps we could finally find out what exactly happened to Adit in My Time at Portia. After all, he was, and I quote the wiki, a refugee of the border crisis between Duvos and Pathea, end quote. It was never mentioned which side of the crisis though, and he didn't want to talk about his past, he was clearly running away from it. And then he disappeared without a trace, even if we married him. So, if the events of the new game aren't the perfect time and place to get some answers, I don't know what is. We'll see. Okay, so then we're introduced to the core romanceable characters. Initially, there are 6: Tia, Ragnar, Avery, Freya, Panna, and Victor, who is still faceless and who probably is that lonely figure we can see in the picture here. And judging from his silhouette, he has long hair, so he is probably the character single-handedly responsible for Ragnar's hair length. And that's a whole story, because it was revealed on the official Discord server that Ragnar used to have really long hair, but they shortened it because of another male character with really long hair, because apparently, like in the Highlander, there can be only one. But you know, I don't actually mind, because Ragnar looks good. So, when I was talking in my last video about this empty space here, that it looks like they removed a character they didn't want us to see yet, it's probably Victor. Because apart from Rudy, everybody in this picture is romanceable. But it makes me wonder, why is Victor's design such a secret? Is it only to make us more curious, or is there an actual reason behind it? Well, this illustration suggests that there is more to it. He is in the background, alone, away from the main group, and it seems like he's also looking away from us. So I do sense a story there. I don't know if that's the case, but I certainly hope so. And we also learned that Kickstarter backers will be voting for 2 more romanceable characters, core romanceable characters. And I think I heard there will be more love interests, but only 8 core romances, meaning important ones with a full romantic story, I suppose. So we'll probably get another Venti again, somewhere. Okay, below we get the description of the player character's role, and frankly not much has changed compared to what the idea was back in Project Me times. So we're still playing as the governor, and we're gonna build the town basically from the ground up. We're gonna be recruiting the settlers and managing the whole thing. So it seems it's gonna be a mix of a city builder and the classic My Time experience, and I do have some things to say about this, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so moving on. We will be able to build according to our own vision or use prefabs, which is great because I am terrible at building. and at organizing and at management. And there's a reason why I usually call my workshop chaos, and I'm definitely not fit to be the governor of anything. So when I get my hands on an entire settlement, it's bound to be different. We'll also be able to assign up to 3 followers to help us with combat, building, and gathering. Which actually makes sense given that the scale of the projects is bigger this time. After all, we are building an entire settlement, so we're probably gonna need a lot more materials. And we're gonna be able to play through the main story and multiplayer, which is nice. And also apparently there's gonna be climbing and gliders. I love gliders, so there's that. Well, after the Breath of the Wild, gliders are everywhere now, so it was bound to happen sooner or later in the My Time series. Okay, so let's take a look at the trailer. And unfortunately, trailer and the screens prepared for the Steam page were leaked on Weibo a few days ago. So for some of us, this isn't exactly a first look. But now it's officially out, so we can freely talk about it. In the trailer, we can finally see 3D models of some of the characters, animated, some nice vistas, snippets of gameplay, including the glider, and some basic combat. All that grass and leaves. My god. Some nice lighting. And, of course, her. Well, that takes me back. The trailer is short and it doesn't really show that much, but there are a couple of things that caught my attention. That too. Ragnar is a fan favorite. He is hot. He is also a redhead, which officially makes him Ragnar the Red. No, I've been playing too much Skyrim recently. Never mind. I was trying to pinpoint where exactly the settlement is going to be on the map. This could be the edge of the Eufaula Desert, and it seems it goes right up to those mushroom-looking structures. So if here we are gliding towards them, north is to our right, and we're gliding due west mostly. And this is the desert. Then this should be the northeastern edge of the desert, and thus we are probably here. Of course, I am famously bad at spatial orientation and I don't actually know if this is indeed the edge of the Eufaula Desert. It would make sense, but we don't know that for sure. And plus the map that we have isn't exactly precise. But never mind, this isn't the most important thing. I am, however, very interested in those mushroom-like structures. What are they? Where exactly are they? And also this. What is this? What is this Stargate-looking thing in the distance? Anyway, I do hope we can go to all of those places and see them up close. In my previous video, I was also wondering about the logo on the back of this jacket, but here it is clear. There's this logo as well, and it's a red shark, so definitely sky sharks. But what got me even more curious are the tattoos, because suddenly there's quite a few people with tattoos. Technically, there's nothing suspicious about it, it's just tattoos, but that's a shark. We can't see its head, but that's almost certainly a shark. I'm not saying that Ragnar is sus, I'm just saying it's a shark. Strangely, this tattoo on a confirmed member of Sky Sharks, at least at some point, is not a shark. At first glance it looks like a tribal doodle, but when we take a better look, is it a pterodactyl? Or a pteranodon maybe? See, this is the head, this is the wing, and this is the body. Why? I mean, it could be something else, but I definitely see a flying reptile here. And why would both of them have a tattoo of a simplified animal shape in a similar style and a similar color? I mean, yeah, hers is pure purple and his is kind of pale grayish purple, but it still counts as generally purple, right? Well, make of that what you will, I'm just pointing it out. But given how my speculations are always totally off, it's probably nothing. Pana also has a tattoo, but it seems that hers is just a tribal sun, and she already had it back in Project Me, and we can see the full design here on her old character card. And I think it didn't change, the design didn't change, it's just the tattoo is on the other hip now. And it's a different style and different color, so probably completely unrelated to anything. But I do wish the player character could have a body tattoo as well, and I really wish our eyebrow color wasn't linked to the hair. But that's a topic for a different discussion. Okay, so far I do like what I'm seeing here. I am, however, a bit worried that the story might not be as rich as in Portia and Sandrock because of Evershine being essentially a city builder. City builders are not generally known for very detailed personal stories. It is, after all, a slightly different genre, it uses slightly different mechanics, and it's much more management-based. It's much more general. The management part can unfortunately easily push the storyline elements into the background and make them much less prominent, and that actually was the case with Project Me. The social mechanics, for example, were very simplified. There was still some story element and cutscenes, even in the early alpha version that we were testing, but the day-to-day interactions with NPCs were very superficial and seemed almost unimportant. It was a mobile game though, and a very unfinished one at that. But I really do hope that My Time at Evershine is going to be basically like Sandrock and Portia, but with a city builder added to the mix on top of everything else. I like the My Time series because of how story-rich it is. It's basically the most important thing for me. The world looks really nice in this game, and I really like the NPCs and the design, so it would be almost ironic if the, in my personal opinion, best-looking My Time game was the least story-oriented of them all. But why am I even worried about it? What makes me think this might be the case? Well, on the Steam page, it says that all in all there's gonna be over 20 unique characters, including love interests. But in Sandrock it was over 40, plus animals, plus additional characters like the miners, the moles, Princess Lumi, and so on. In Portia, same thing, over 40 unique characters. And I'm not saying that many unique characters are necessary to tell a big story, but fewer characters might mean the whole thing is being scaled down. I don't know. We still have our own custom character, and we do know there's gonna be a story, and that the NPCs are going to have their own stories. We just don't know how big or how involved they're gonna be. Of course, I don't expect anything as big as Fang's personal story, because let's be honest, that was an anomaly. A nice one, I love huge stories, but it was basically bigger than anything else, so I don't expect anything of that size. But I wouldn't want this game to be less satisfying or less interesting or less rich than the previous ones. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so once again, the Kickstarter campaign launches on the 24th of September. And if you want, you can already wishlist the game on Steam. And that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in my next video. Take care.